Asteroid of fear.
Welcome to another episode of the Men of the House podcast, and it is Unfiltered Friday. That's right. I'm tired. A little worn, a little sleepy. So, I don't know about you guys, but it's been a long week, long couple of weeks. What month are we in? January, February, March, April, May. Yeah, so we're in Q2, trucking along. Got about a month left to school, which isn't much. And I'm feeling more overwhelmed than my daughter. She's getting ready to go into junior high, and she came in the other night and she wrote on our bathroom mirror in dry erase marker uh, every event she had for May. So I guess there's probably some sort of transition of going from elementary to junior high. There's some auditions for junior high stuff. Um, Other things here and there. Uh, Man, yeah, gives me anxiety thinking about it. Got to put it all in the calendar so I can see it better. And, she's 11, not not quite all the way there in terms of expectations, but she didn't put she didn't put them in chronological order, so yeah. It's like there's the anxiety inducing piece. A mirror full of um dates that are not chronological. As a man, it's like here's a whole list of shit to do in no particular order um, or importance. Here I am messing with the mouse, making sure that I have to do this every once in a while. Sometimes I forget if I'm recording. Did I hit record or not? And I did. So, yeah, that gives me anxiety. And, that's making me, giving me a more hesitation in getting Podmatch guests. Um, I love to do interviews, which is why you've seen kind of more of these one-offs, TikTok or people that I've interviewed before. Um, because once I open the floodgates, it's going to nail me down. And as I said, we have a ton of events in May, which starts, yeah, we're in May. So take all that and it's the end of the year. It's busy time. Yeah. Yeah, so I've had trouble cementing that down because we have to go out of town as well this weekend. Apparently, my wife has an aunt that she's rarely or never met because we're in Texas. Wife's family's from Michigan. Every family's got somebody that probably moved away and lived far away. And every time my wife would visit, or every time the aunt would visit, they would just miss each other. And they're going to be closer to us this weekend. So that's what I get to do. Should be fun though. I think I'll be staying at my brother in law's. I get to play some electric drums. And so, but any trip out of town comes with trip out of town shit. And for me, that's usually contending with, hey, babe, we don't need to pack that much stuff. Like, we're going to be there this many days. More than likely, we're only going to do this. Yeah. So, plan accordingly. Don't overpack. Let's not pack too much stuff. We were just down there, I feel like last weekend, whenever Easter was. So, yeah, more anxiety. Um, I'm the load master, if you will. It's my job to make sure everything fits, get us there safely, etc. But I'm excited nonetheless. It'll be fun. It just, again, it makes it more difficult on having a Monday's guest episode. Yeah, because like I said, I keep dragging my feet with Podmatch and getting guests, and I don't know how long I'm going to continue to do that. I'm going to have to open the floodgates slowly because I'll have to go into Calendly and block all these days. So essentially, I need to put all the dates of my daughter's stuff in the calendar, block out those dates in Calendly so nobody can schedule on those days. And then we're going to start summer and I'll be wide open. And I won't have this level of anxiety and I'll be much happier. So come on, 4 weeks or whatever that is. But then, at the end of that, we have one daughter turning 21, and that's a big event. And another out of town trip. And yeah, you can see my arms if you're watching. Um, a lot of work. So planning around that as well. The silence is thought of everything I must line up to get all this taken care of. But on to other notes, what have I done this week? Exercising, listening to podcasts. You know, this week I'm trying something different, and that is in terms of weightlifting, I'm trying splits with body parts, like a kind of bodybuilder style, um, chest, shoulders, tries, back and buys, and then legs. And had my first solo legs today. And, now a lot of people do this push pull legs or upper body, lower body. You say it however you want to say it, split it however you want to split it. Are you doing exercise? Yes. Why am I trying something different? Because I've always done full body a couple of times a week and my body's just felt wretched. Am I exercising all the same muscle groups too many days? Not enough recovery time. My sleep is poor. So this week I went to splits. And so far, I mean, today was the first day I woke up not feeling as decrepit as usual. Yeah. And we'll go on that note of, during my workouts, listen to a lot of podcasts. And one interesting one I came across was Theo Vaughn and Mark Zuckerberg, also Theo Vaughn and Ben Affleck. I find it interesting that this is where people are making media appearances, media runs. It was before The Accountant, too. So normally, I guess the deal would be whatever studio, whatever umbrella owns the movie, sends the actors out to all their affiliated studios and or press junket run things, and it's all kept that way. And so I find it interesting. Is Theo Vaughn working for Fox or NBC or something we don't know about? um, I find it interesting that people are kind of going that way now, and I think it's the lack of censorship, which is why we do this, freedom of speech. Um, you're free to say whatever you want. Unpopular, offensive. A lot of people may not tune in. You may not. It depends on what your intent and purpose is. I mean, if your intent and purpose is to spread hate, you may not get that many listeners. If it's to spread positivity and or help people, like I want to. Hopefully, it reaches more people. Hasn't yet, but there's always the future. There's always hope. But my point was is that yeah, they don't have that loyalty. I think with podcasting, politics, and how there was a lot of politics within the podcasting and how people are turning to podcasts for news and or truth because under we've come to understand that news media outlets are biased. They're one side or the other, controlled and or owned by people who influence one side or the other. And I guess the podcast space is uh, the ownership is on the podcaster unless you're controlled by somebody. And and so you have a freedom of speech, a freedom of what you can say. And I'm sure as an artist, that's liberating because kind of it brought me to this point of, you know, whether it's any big company, you know, what do they call them? Like NDAs, you can't discuss this or you can't discuss that for whatever reason. Or a lot of times it's like you can't say that this company's bad to work for. They send you to all their people so and control everything that you say um, because it protects them. But the weird thing is like I had this thought of what makes it illegal, and I'm sure if there's any lawyers out there who can chime in, experts on the law, is it illegal to tell other people like, hey, this company's a shitty company to work for? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, hey guys, quick break, but this one's important. If you're tired of setting goals that never leave the Notes app, or you're feeling stuck in the same cycle, let's change that. Accountability isn't about pressure, it's about partnership. I offer one on one accountability coaching for those who are ready to show up, not just for their goals, but for themselves, their families, and their purpose. Whether you're working on discipline, building better habits, or simply trying to stay consistent, I got you. No fluff, no judgment, just real conversations and real progress. If that sounds like something you need, hit the link in the show notes and let's connect. All right, back to the episode. If you got a shitty burger, you can go on Yelp and review to the whole world about it. And there are companies like Glassdoor and this and that, the other that people go on and piss and moan about their careers. But for some reason, when we get into this, those are usually under anonymous accounts. But when we get into this spoken thing, this bad mouthing, slandering, I guess they call it, libel, maybe, I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. Um, that, yeah, people can sue you for slandering them or whatever, but there's this whole thing of like, I see the control of the companies, the people, the movies going around, so you have to always show them in good favor, good light. Where in a podcast arena, you could say, "No, man, like, hey, the accountant too is good, but maybe that person was difficult to work with." I don't know. You know, is that what is attractive about the podcast space, or why are we seeing more high-profile people in the podcast space? Doesn't matter to me. I'm down for it. I enjoyed all the interviews with JD Vance and um, Ben Affleck, listening to Carrie Von Erich. Well, no, is it Kevin Von Erich? Whichever one's still alive. My wife and I just watched one of the documentaries. I can't remember if it was on Netflix or Hulu, but it was really good. Really good. Or I might have recorded it. Maybe it was on an ID or something. Um, But I like it because it's this opportunity that, you know, people as fans of others get to look in and see, like, hey, like Zuckerberg, like one of the things I think I talked about this a couple episodes ago, and I'm not here yet. But one of the things with Mark Zuckerberg was, like Theo Von said, he's out there raw dogging life. Nothing. No coffee, nothing. Like that's what I'm going for. When I was talking about like this morning, I took some Advil and an 8 hour Tylenol. Like a couple of two in one or three in one. So I get 8 hours of effect. But you know, I said I've been feeling a little bit better. I'm trying to give myself more rest in between muscle groups, seeing if that helps, where I don't feel like shit every morning. Um, but I also mentioned that I would love to not need Advil or Tylenol to get moving in the morning. Stretching's fine. Coffee, even. Um, I've done periods with no coffee, or I've done tea. I've turned psychopath like that. And really, I think the past week, maybe week and a half, I've even cut down to one cup of coffee as opposed to two. My heart's just not in it. I can't be trusted. I've gone from two to one cup. Yeah. But no, I think that's an admirable goal of think about him and Facebook what you will, but he also created something great, you know. He's a very unique and talented individual in thought and what been able to accomplish. So, yeah, it's interesting to understand that a person like that wants the clearest version, the most unfiltered version of reality, raw dogging, nothing, no caffeine. Or I'm sure he does every once in a while, but you know what I'm saying. Most of us, if you miss your cup of coffee, you know. I'm getting to a point where I think I almost didn't even have one the other day, but I did. I could have went without it. I probably should have, just to test your limits and your willpower every once in a while. I think it's a good thing. And another one I finished on up at the gym and walking today was Jeremy Renner with Joe Rogan. Great episode. Uh, Super impactful. Lots to take from it. And, you know, with just kind of like an idea of what I'm shooting for, which is that freedom, like he calls it. Is he in retirement? Well, no, just because people know him as an actor, that's how he's made most of his living, is acting. But he's much more than an actor. He does a lot of other things. He's passionate about a lot of other things. And the snowplow accident brought that into focus for him. And now he only does what he wants, takes the roles that he wants, and only like if he can have his family involved. Um, so stuff like that. And that's kind of the same interest, long term kind of goal that I have is um, I want to do what I want to do with the people I want to do it because the shared experience, that's what life is about. That's what's important. But he's a person just like you and I. I mean, he's extraordinary in the fact that he's been able to recover and he talks about the difficulty of that. And, you know, you can tell that he's athletic, of course, by some of the roles that he's done, but it still took a lot of work, uh, both inner, spiritual, mental, and physical. And it's daily work. But he has such a zest for life and the simplicity of it, like that baseline of love that I always talk about. I mean, even me, as I sit here and always desire to provide more or better for my wife and daughter, my family, um, I could get up from this microphone and walk out and get hit by a car, bit by a snake. Could be the end of it. I mean, my labs look good, but freak things happen. We have bad weather coming up. Um, can I be happy with what I'm doing, and is what I'm doing pure of intention at the moment, to where if this never makes it to the place I want, that it still was pure of intention and of value and puts value out there. And that's kind of what you got with him and some of the projects he does. And he's just able to do it on a bigger scale. And, hopefully one day I can be so fortunate and blessed to um, be able to provide more, and to more than just family, um, but to those in need. After all, I do come from a place of service. But yeah, it was a great interview. I really like him. Apparently, he's got a book. I definitely want to check it out. 100%. Let's see what else I wrote down here. What did we cover? Yeah, Ben Affleck, Mark Zuckerberg, raw dogging it. Yeah, I guess, like I was saying, just don't know where we get off on this. You can't warn people about other bad things, scams, shitty people, in certain situations. And that kind of goes back to that control. And podcast kind of alleviates that control, unless, of course, you're sponsored, endorsed, and somebody's writing you a paycheck, which I can assure you nobody is not. So, for now, I get to say what I want. And I hope to always keep it that way. And I feel like we are moving towards a more independent um, sense of a lot of things. You got Kyle Smith, independent non signed musician. Um, whether it's independent podcaster, independent businesses that aren't tapped in, independent farmers, people out there trying to make it that aren't tapped into, whether it's big chicken supporting big, you know, farmers that grow chickens so they can make McNuggets. Um, well, I always love spending my money like at a small food truck, but yeah, I want to stay independent as long as possible, out of the control of others. I think even Sean Ryan, he's with Cumulus, is talking about going independent. I don't know if he is yet, or people are starting their own podcast networks. But hey, it all depends on what kind of freedom do you get. Because at the end of the day, really, the freedom is about, I think, freedom is, I guess it's just important that people can spout off their nonsense as it is, that people who are looking for truth, that's what freedom of speech means. To be able to come on to a platform, no matter whose it is, and at least tell the truth, whether a company's shitty to work for or a person is shitty and should be avoided, they're a scam artist. Don't fucking work with that person. They're not trustworthy. We do it for everything else. I don't know why it's such a fucking problem in some scenarios. And if you don't want people to say bad shit about you, then don't be an asshole. Don't be a bad person. You know, do what the fuck you say you're going to do. Be accountable. If you need help with that, have an accountability group. Shameless plug. Yeah, no, I just came out that way because this is Unfiltered Friday and I don't rehearse none of this. There's no outline. I just sit down and talk about what the fuck I want to talk about. Yeah, good venting session. So, but we got the bad weather coming. I may have to go pick up my wife and daughter so we can leave one of our vehicles parked in town under someone else's underpass, overpass, garage type. Carport, that's what we call it in the South. Yeah. Ours don't fit all the vehicles we have because we have work vehicles, regular vehicles, like Sam's hot fucking car lot. All right. We'll see if we find a guest. If not, I guess you'll get to hear about the adventures of the weekend on Monday. Um, until next time, we're all out there looking for the truth. So if you're a person of truth, of integrity, and want to be a person of value and accountability, hit me up. And in the meantime, go out and be the person that you would want to meet.
Asteroid of fear.